Have you ever wondered what it truly feels like to live inside the mind of a narcissist? Not the stereotype we throw around casually, not the shallow image of someone who just loves themselves too much, but the deeper reality, the raw, fragile, haunted psychology that drives them. A narcissist does not merely crave attention. They survive on it. Admiration to them is not a luxury, it is oxygen. Without it, the mask begins to slip, and what lies underneath is so unbearable that even they cannot face it. Behind the confident smile and the perfect performance, there is always a trembling child, trapped in the shadows of the past, holding on desperately to one illusion, the illusion of superiority. You may have heard of this book before, but here, you won't just hear it, you'll feel it. The story of the narcissist does not begin with arrogance. It begins with absence. An absence of unconditional love, an absence of being seen for who they truly are. Somewhere in their childhood, a seed was planted, the message that love must be earned, that worth depends on achievement, that approval is never free. The child absorbs this message and learns a brutal survival trick: to hide their real self and present only what will be praised. Over time, the mask becomes second nature. It grows, it hardens, and one day the child forgets there was ever a face behind it. But what does it cost to live behind a mask? The cost is enormous. It is the loss of connection to the authentic self. Narcissists become actors who never step off stage, caught in roles they cannot escape. They know how to mimic empathy, how to speak the words that make them look kind, how to wear the face that others want to see. But deep down, the feeling is absent. They know how to play the role of the lover, the friend, the achiever, the savior, but the one role they cannot play is their own. And yet, isn't there something disturbingly familiar in this? Haven't we all, in moments of fear, hidden behind a smile that wasn't real? Haven't we all chosen to show the version of ourselves we thought others wanted instead of the one we truly were? This is why narcissists both repel us and fascinate us, because in their extremes, they reflect something we all recognize: the fear of being unworthy, belonging to be seen, the temptation to hide behind a mask. Imagine standing across from someone who reflects not your truth, but your insecurities, magnified and distorted. That is what it feels like to be with a narcissist. Victims often say, "I lost myself," not because the narcissist stole their identity, but because slowly, piece by piece, they began to believe the distorted reflection. They began to doubt their own feelings, to question their own memories, to wonder if they were the problem. This is the cruelest effect of narcissism, not just the manipulation of emotions, but the manipulation of reality itself. But here is a question worth holding on to. Does the narcissist know what they are doing? Are they fully aware of the damage they cause? Or are they just as trapped in the cycle as those who love them? The truth is, it is both. Consciously, they crave power, attention, control. But unconsciously, they are fighting the ghost of that abandoned child, the one who whispers every night, "You are not enough." And this inner battle is what makes them dangerous, but also deeply tragic. They are predators, yes, but they are also prisoners. Prisoners of a mask they can never remove. To truly understand them, we must walk into the shadows of their mind. We must hear the echo of their fear, feel the fragility beneath their arrogance, and recognize that the mask they wear is not just a disguise. It is a shield, and it is heavy. Heavier than most of us could imagine carrying for a lifetime. This is not only their story, it is ours too. Because to look inside the mind of a narcissist is to look inside a mirror that reveals our own masks, our own fears, our own hunger for validation. They're not monsters from another world. They are human, painfully, frighteningly human. And the real question is not only how to recognize them, but how to recognize the parts of ourselves that are tempted to become like them.
The narcissist moves through life as if the world is a stage and everyone else is part of their cast. To strangers, they can appear magnetic, confident, ambitious, charismatic. They know how to read people, how to sense what you need, and then mirror it back to you as if they've known you forever. But behind that charm lies intention. Every gesture, every word is designed to secure admiration, to maintain control, to feed the insatiable hunger for validation. When the applause stops, when the attention shifts, a kind of panic sets in. You can almost see it in their eyes, the sudden flicker of emptiness that rushes in like a tidal wave. And so they scramble, creating new stories, new dramas, new crises, just to pull the spotlight back where they needed to be. Living with a narcissist is like being pulled into a play you never auditioned for. At first, you may be flattered by the role they give you. You are the chosen one, the partner, the confidant, the friend who understands them better than anyone else. But slowly, the script changes. The admiration you offered so freely is no longer enough. They demand more. They criticize, they question, they belittle. And then, just when you're ready to walk away, they switch roles again, showering you with affection, pulling you back into the story. This cycle, psychologists call it idealization and devaluation. But for those who live it, it feels like whiplash. One moment you're on top of the world, the next you're drowning in self-doubt, wondering what you did wrong. And yet, there's a secret at the heart of this cycle. The narcissist is not just trying to control you. They are trying desperately to control their own fear of abandonment. Every cruel word, every manipulation, every desperate attempt to keep you hooked is driven by one terror: that if you leave, the mask will shatter and they will be forced to face the void inside themselves. But here's the tragic irony. In trying to avoid abandonment, they almost always create it. Their very behavior pushes people away, confirming the fear they were trying so hard to escape. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, isn't this pattern, in some form, present in all of us? How often have we acted not from love, but from fear? How often have we hidden parts of ourselves, put on masks, manipulated reality, not because we are evil, but because we are afraid of being seen as we truly are? The narcissist magnifies this human struggle. They embody it so fully that it becomes destructive, but the seed of it lives in everyone. And maybe that is why we fascinate them. Because in understanding them, we begin to glimpse the fragile corners of our own souls. When you look deeper, you begin to see that narcissism is not simply about arrogance. It is about survival. Imagine a child who learns early on that love is conditional. A smile is rewarded. Tears are punished. Achievements bring praise. Vulnerability brings rejection. That child quickly learns, I must hide my true self. I must become what others want me to be. And so the mask is born. The mask grows more elaborate with time until one day the child forgets there was ever a self behind it. This is why narcissists are often described as hollow. It is not that nothing exists inside them, but that the child they once were has been buried so deep beneath the mask, even they can no longer find it. It is easy to paint narcissists as villains, and yes, their actions can cause profound damage. But if we stop there, we miss the deeper truth. They are also victims. Victims of neglect, of emotional starvation, of a world that taught them survival meant performance. Understanding this does not excuse their behavior, but it helps explain why change is so rare. Because for a narcissist to heal, they must do the one thing they fear the most: take off the mask. To strip away the illusion of control and admit, perhaps for the first time, that they are fragile, that they are wounded, that they need. This is the work of therapy, but it is also the work of courage. And courage is something the narcissist struggles to access, because courage requires vulnerability, and vulnerability feels like death to them. So can a narcissist truly change? The honest answer is, rarely. It is not impossible, but it demands a level of self-confrontation that few are willing to endure. It means dismantling an identity built over decades, facing the raw pain of childhood wounds, and learning to live without constant validation. For most narcissists, this is a mountain too steep to climb. But for those who attempt it, who dare to face the broken child inside, healing is possible. It begins with the smallest shift, the willingness to look inward instead of outward for worth. For those who have loved or lived with a narcissist, the path is different. Healing begins not by changing the narcissist, but by reclaiming yourself. The first step is to recognize the mirror game they play, to understand that the distortion you see in their words, in their accusations, in their shifting moods, is not the truth of who you are. It is their projection, their wound, not yours. When you begin to see this, you begin to separate. You begin to reclaim the pieces of yourself that were lost in the performance. You realize that your worth was never theirs to give or take. And here lies the hidden gift in the pain of dealing with a narcissist. They force you, in the most painful way, to confront the question of identity. Who are you when someone tries to define you through their broken lens? Who are you when someone insists you are not enough? To answer that question is to begin the journey back to yourself. To stand in front of the mirror they distorted and say, "This is me, and I am enough." But even as we reclaim ourselves, we must also face another truth. The narcissist is not a foreign species. They are not monsters dropped into the human world. They are part of the same fabric as us. Their extremes show us the dangers of losing touch with our authentic selves. Their hunger for admiration reflects our own subtle cravings for approval. Their fear of rejection echoes our own. To study the narcissist is not just to understand them, it is to understand the human condition itself. And so the question remains, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you use it to guard yourself, to spot the warning signs, to step out of toxic cycles? Or will you use it to look inward, to recognize the masks you wear, the ways you too hide your wounds, the parts of yourself you have abandoned in search of acceptance? Because the truth is, we all carry a narcissist inside us. Maybe not in the most destructive form, but as a shadow, the part of us that longs to be admired, that fears being unseen. The difference lies in whether we let that shadow rule us, or whether we face it with honesty, compassion, and courage. This is where transformation begins, not in denying the narcissist within, but in acknowledging it and choosing a different path. A path where love is not conditional, where worth is not measured by applause, where we do not need to perform to be seen. And in this realization, we step into freedom. The freedom to be authentic, the freedom to be imperfect, the freedom to love and to be loved without masks.
They say the narcissist cannot love, but that isn't entirely true. They love, yet their love is shaped like a mirror. It reflects only themselves. When they look at you, they don't see you as you are. They see the part of themselves they want to project, the admiration they want to receive, the fantasy they want to sustain. You become a character in their inner play, cast not because of who you are, but because of what you represent. And the tragedy is, once you no longer serve the role, once you stop feeding the script, they discard you as if you were never real. This is why survivors of narcissistic relationships describe the aftermath as haunting. It's not just heartbreak, it's erasure. You walk away asking yourself, did any of it mean anything? Was I ever truly seen? And the painful answer is this: you were seen, but not as you. You were seen as a reflection, a means to an end, a mirror held up to confirm their worth. That's why it hurts so deeply, because deep down we long not only to be loved, but to be recognized. To have someone say, I see you, I know you, I value you. With a narcissist, that recognition is always withheld. Instead, you are pulled into a cycle of longing, of hoping that one day the mask will fall and the real person will step forward. But the longer you wait, the more you realize the mask is all there is. And yet, it would be too simple to call them heartless. For in those rare, fleeting moments when the mask slips, you catch a glimpse of something raw, a flicker of fear, a shadow of sadness, a child's voice echoing through the years, begging not to be abandoned again. These moments are rare, but when they appear, they are unforgettable. It's why so many people stay, because they believe that if they just love enough, if they just stay long enough, they can heal that wound. But here lies the cruel paradox. The very wound that needs healing is the wound that will not allow it. For the narcissist to be healed, they must surrender control, and control is the one thing they can never give up. So what do, those of us who find ourselves entangled with them? The first lesson is this: you cannot save them. Your love will not rewrite their story. Your patience will not undo their wound. Healing is a door only they can open from the inside. And while they may give you glimpses, hints that the door could open, it rarely does. To stay, hoping to turn the key for them, is to lose yourself. And your soul is too precious to be bargained away in someone else's performance. Instead, healing must turn inward. You begin by asking, why was I drawn here? What need in me resonated with the mask they wore? Was it the longing to feel special? Was it the fear of being alone? Was it the desire to fix what was broken, because fixing them felt like fixing myself? These are difficult questions, but they are the path back to freedom. For in answering them, you uncover the parts of yourself that need attention, the wounds that made you vulnerable, the longings that made you blind. And here is where the true transformation lies, because once you see the narcissist for who they are,
not the fantasy they projected, you cannot unsee it. The spell breaks. The mirror shatters, and in the shards of glass, you begin to see your own face again. At first it may be blurred, distorted by the years of manipulation, but slowly, piece by piece, your reflection returns. You begin to remember who you were before the performance. You begin to reclaim the voice that was silenced, the confidence that was eroded, the self that was hidden. The journey of healing from narcissistic entanglement is not just about escape. It is about rebirth. It is about learning that your worth does not depend on applause, that your identity is not defined by another's gaze. It is about stepping off the stage, walking away from the performance, and learning to live unscripted. This is terrifying at first, because without the performance, who are you? But it is also liberating. For the first time, you are free to write your own story. And in that freedom, you come to a profound realization. The narcissist was not just an abuser, not just a manipulator, not just a mask. They were also a teacher, a harsh one, perhaps the harshest you will ever know. They forced you to see the danger of living for validation. They forced you to confront your own longing for recognition. They forced you to find strength you did not know you had. And while you may never forgive their cruelty, you may one day recognize the gift hidden in the wound, the gift of returning to yourself. So what is the hidden psychology of the narcissist? It is a story of survival, of masks and mirrors, of hunger and emptiness. But more than that, it is a mirror for us all, because while their extremes may terrify us, their essence is not alien. We all wear masks. We all crave recognition. We all fear being unseen. The narcissist simply lives at the edge of these truths, where they become destructive. And in seeing them clearly, we are offered a choice. Will we continue to hide behind our own masks, performing for love, chasing validation that never satisfies? Or will we dare to step into authenticity, to risk being seen as we truly are, fragile and imperfect yet real? This is the invitation, to break the mirror, to lay down the mask, to love without conditions, and to stand in our truth even when it is not applauded. Because in the end, it is not admiration that sets us free. It is honesty. It is courage. It is the willingness to say, I am enough. And so, if you've ever found yourself tangled in the web of a narcissist, if you've ever questioned your worth through the lens of someone else's mask, let this be the reminder you needed. You were never the problem. You were never too little, never too much. You were simply caught in the reflection of another's wound. And now you have the chance to step beyond it, to live unmasked, to live free. Remember this as you leave this story behind. The mind of a narcissist may be dark and twisted, but it also points us back to the light. For every mask they wear teaches us the value of authenticity. For every lie they tell teaches us the power of truth. For every wound they project teaches us the importance of healing our own. And perhaps this is the deepest hidden truth. The narcissist's greatest gift to us is not in who they are, but in who they force us to become. Mystiwave. Dive deep. Rise transformed.